Living with Celia was literally a living nightmare for me. Sometimes she was standing in the kitchen, motionless. Or roamed around at invaluable times, which I've never been able to determine. Soon I've realized her face always looked kinda strange to me, to be more precisely it looks pretty lifeless. There was always something odd about her in the first place. If you compare her to Muffy and Nami, something was lacking. Her personality, she didn't had one. The more I was thinking about these things, the more she started to creep me out. So I've moved to the point to avoid her as best as I can. It wasn't easy since her daily routine is fraught. Partially I've experienced a lot of jump scares in this game, to be honest. After a while I've noticed there was one place she particularly avoided, the barn. Then something came into my mind, that what she tends to say: if you spend way too much time in there, you reek like a animal. I've came to the conclusion that she might not be fond of them, and this proves my point that this character doesn't have a soul at all. Harvest Moon is a game about living a farm life, so why is there a character who doesn't like animals at all but still insists to marry a farmer? And here comes the theory for this, so hear me out. It was always strange for me that Celia lived before the marriage with literal strangers, while the other two girls you can romance as well have parents. There was never an explanation what happened to them. Like, I mean, okay, they might be dead, but this was never mentioned in the game. A mystery, that's it. Now think about the location she was living before she forced herself into your life. A farm, right? But the farm is not my point. There is something else in that area. I'm talking about the excavation site, a place in which you're able to dig out fossils. Then something came into my mind. A movie made by none other than Stephen King. Pet Sematary. Everything made sense for me now. Celia wasn't alive anymore. In fact, she was here, but as a wandering and lifeless corpse. Now think about what happened in the movie. Straight after that brat came back of the livings, it started to kill. So why doesn't the other farm have any pets? She killed them, and I'm sure her parents as well, who probably used to be the owners of that farm. Exactly like in the movie. The reason why I think she haven't killed the new owners is because they surely chained her up in the tool shed, and probably the whole village knew about that as well. Now think about the age group of the majority in that village. They are all old fucks. Spineless religious extremists who are into the wrong belief feeding their firstborn would protect themselves from the evil. Now let me summarize the prologue of Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life. The father of the protagonist died. One day he received a letter from his father's friend, who always dreamed about building up a farm together, telling him a part of the property belonged to his dad. Protagonist moves into that village to literally fulfill his dad's friend's egoistic desire, having a huge-ass farm. His father is dead, right? A death which wasn't explained at all, just like in Celia's case. Now my conclusion is that protagonist's father is probably the same as hers. A man whore and disgrace who think it's funny to cheat on his wife. The cause of Celia's death now is obvious. He killed her and buried her in the excavation site. The reason was he couldn't bring himself to waste even more money on another child. But he never could have guessed he'd bury her on an Indian cemetery. So she came back, for revenge. The only person who knew about the protagonist's dad's secret was his friend. His letter was nothing more than a lie. In fact, it was more likely a way to allure the protagonist to the village, because he was the only firstborn which came into his mind for another great satanic sacrifice. Everyone else rather offered their first child already, or the majority is, as I said, just too old to make babies. At any rate, everything was from the beginning on a conspiracy. The kindness from the townspeople, fake as hell. The reason why it's almost impossible to win over Muffy's and Nami's heart: they know your only purpose here is to die. Even if you completely avoid talking to Celia, she's still gonna be the one who you have to marry. Declining the offer will make your father's friends silently remove you from your own farm. But in truth, you just end up getting yourself killed off screen. Now you're probably asking, why wouldn't she kill you straight after moving in? Well, who knows, maybe she is waiting for the right time. Or because you are the only family left for her? we'll never know.